She stepped outside to feed the horses just like any other morning. But what she saw standing near the barn froze her in place. A figure, tall and familiar, with eyes that mirrored her past and pain. Amy's breath caught. It couldn't be. Her heart raced, her legs went numb, because the man standing there, quiet and still, was Ty Borden. The early light of morning slipped through the curtains as Amy opened her eyes. She had dreamed of Ty again, just like so many times before. In the dream, they were riding together across the fields, laughing, holding hands, everything just like it used to be. But she always woke up alone. Just her, the horses, and the silent ache that never left. She sat up in bed, brushed the hair from her face, and heard a strange sound outside. Hoofbeats? A gate creaking? The horses were usually quiet this early. Curious, Amy pulled on her boots and coat and stepped out into the cold. The sky was pale, the wind light, the ranch peaceful, until she saw him. There, near the barn, standing in the golden light, was a man. Not just any man. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and his presence sent a chill through her bones. The way he stood, the tilt of his head, the shape of his face, it all hit her at once. Amy's eyes widened, her lips parted, but no words came out. It was impossible. "Ty," she whispered, barely a sound. He turned slowly, his face soft but full of sorrow. His eyes met hers. Not cold, not distant, but filled with longing and quiet pain. She took one shaky step forward. Her boots crunched on the gravel. Her breath fogged in the air. Her hands were trembling. Ty said nothing. He just stood there, watching her, like he didn't know what to say either. Like every word in the world had been buried with the years lost between them. Amy's throat tightened, her vision blurred. You died," she said, her voice shaking. "I saw you, we buried you." Ty's face broke. A flicker of guilt and heartbreak crossed his eyes. He looked down for a moment, then back at her. "I wanted to come back," he finally spoke, voice rough, like it hadn't been used in a long time. "I never wanted to leave you." Amy staggered back, her mind racing. This couldn't be real. Her legs weakened. She leaned against the fence, her heart pounding like thunder. Was this another dream? Was she losing her mind? "I had to disappear," he said again. "I had no choice." Tears streamed down Amy's cheeks as she took another step forward, closer now. She reached out a hand, unsure if he would vanish, the moment she touched him. But he didn't. Her fingers brushed his chest. Solid. Warm. Real. The front door of the house opened with a bang. Jack stepped out holding his mug of coffee. His eyes followed Amy's gaze. He froze. The mug slipped from his hand and shattered on the porch. "Ty," Jack whispered. Amy's legs finally gave in and she fell to her knees, sobbing. Ty dropped beside her, pulling her into his arms. The embrace was tight, desperate, both of them clinging like they'd waited a lifetime. From the porch, Jack called into the house, his voice cracking. "Lou, Tim, you need to come out here now." The ranch, so quiet moments ago, was now filled with rushing footsteps, slamming doors, and gasps of disbelief. Lou came running out first, followed by Tim. They stopped dead when they saw him. No, this is not possible," Lou said, shaking her head. "You're dead. We had your funeral. I gave the speech." Tim stared hard, then stormed forward and grabbed Ty's shirt. "What the hell is this? What kind of sick trick is this?" "It's me," Ty said again, his voice calm but tired. "I didn't die. I was taken, forced into hiding. I had to protect Amy. I had to protect all of you." Amy clutched Ty's arm like she'd never let go again. The wind picked up, blowing her hair across her tear-streaked face. Everyone was speechless, their hearts full of confusion, pain, and the smallest flicker of hope. Because somehow, against all odds, Ty Borden had returned. The silence didn't last long. As Ty stood beside Amy, the weight of 1,000 questions hung in the air. thick and sharp like a storm waiting to break. Jack took a slow step forward, eyes locked on the man he once raised like a son. His weathered face held a mixture of shock, hope, and suspicion. "If this is real, Ty, then you've got a whole lot of explaining to do." Inside the house, Lou sat down hard on the kitchen chair, her hands shaking. She couldn't process it. Her brother, the man they grieved, whose loss tore their world apart, was standing outside, alive, breathing. She didn't know whether to scream in anger or cry with joy. Tim didn't hesitate. He grabbed Ty's arm and pulled him away from Amy, shoving him against the wooden post of the barn. "You don't just show up after all these years and expect everything to be normal. You left her. You left your daughter." "I didn't leave," Ty replied, his voice tight. "I was taken. You think I would have missed her first words? Her first steps? I watched from a distance when I could. I begged to come back. They wouldn't let me." Jack stepped between them, holding up a firm hand. "Tim, that's enough." But Lou's voice broke through, bitter and sharp. "You were gone for 6 years. You let us believe you were dead. You watched your wife raise your child alone, and you did nothing?" Ty's face fell. His shoulders slumped. "Do you think it was easy? I lived in fear every day. The people I exposed, animal traffickers, smugglers, men with power, wanted me dead. The police staged the shooting to protect me. It wasn't my choice." Amy, standing quietly to the side, finally spoke. Her voice was calm, but trembling. "You should have trusted me. You should have told me something, anything. Do you know what it's like to sleep alone for 6 years? To answer your daughter's questions about why her daddy's in the stars?" Ty turned to her, eyes filled with tears. "I know. I hate myself for it. I wrote letters I couldn't send. I recorded messages I wasn't allowed to deliver. I tried everything." Lyndy appeared in the doorway, clutching a stuffed horse in her tiny hands. She looked sleepy and confused. "Mama? Why is everyone shouting?" Amy's breath caught. Everyone froze. Slowly, Ty knelt down. His voice cracked as he looked at his daughter for the first time. "Hi, I'm Ty." Lyndy tilted her head. "Are you Mama's friend?" Amy moved beside her daughter and knelt. "Sweetheart, this is your dad." The little girl stared for a long time, then looked at Amy. But he was gone. Amy nodded, gently. "Yes, but now he's here." Lyndy took a step forward, her little eyes full of wonder. She reached out and touched Ty's hand, small fingers brushing his. "You came back?" Ty's voice barely held together. "I did. I'm sorry it took so long." She didn't speak. She just stepped into his arms and hugged him. Behind them, the family looked on. No one spoke. No one needed to. The pain was still fresh. The answers were still unclear. But in that moment, with father and daughter finally together, something shifted. The silence was no longer heavy with shock. It carried something new, fragile, unfamiliar, but real. Hope. Night fell. Over Heartland, but sleep didn't come easily. The house was quiet, yet no one truly rested. The wind outside whispered through the trees, and the stars lit the sky above, just like all those nights Amy had spent wishing on them. But now, Ty was real. He was here. And everything she thought she understood about grief, about loss, about moving on was breaking apart. Amy sat on the porch, wrapped in a thick blanket, watching the horses in the distance. The same place she once cried alone. The same place she had whispered to the stars about Ty. She didn't hear the door open, but she felt his presence beside her. Familiar yet unfamiliar. He didn't speak at first. He just sat down next to her like he had 1,000 times before. Like no time had passed at all. After a long silence, Amy finally spoke. "This was our spot." Ty nodded. "I used to picture you sitting here, every night." Amy's hands tightened around the blanket. "I'd talk to you sometimes, ask you for advice, complain about Tim, cry when Lyndy had her first fever and you weren't there. Ty's jaw clenched and his eyes filled with guilt. I heard about that. From the reports they gave me. I begged them to let me come back. Every single time something happened here. Amy turned to him. Her voice was soft, but strong. You watched our lives go on without you. Do you know how hard it was for me to let go, to believe you were really gone? I didn't even want to breathe without you. But I had to. For Lyndy. I know, he said, voice breaking. You were always stronger than me, Amy. The words hung in the air like smoke. Then Amy reached into her pocket and pulled out something small. A faded photo. It was of Ty holding baby Lyndy. One of the last photos they ever took together. She handed it to him. I kept this in my wallet. Every day. Ty took it, his fingers shaking as he stared at the image. His lips trembled. She was so tiny. She still asks about you, Amy said. She asked why all the kids in her class have dads and she doesn't. I told her you were in the stars. That you loved her more than anything. I do, Ty whispered. I always did. Amy looked down. Do you know how long I cried at night? How long I kept your jacket beside my bed? I would close my eyes and pretend your arms were still around me. Ty slowly took her hand. She didn't pull away. I dreamed of you every night, Amy. I replayed our last goodbye over and over in my head. I hated myself for the lies, but it was the only way to keep you alive. Her voice cracked. I'm tired, Ty. I'm tired of crying. I'm tired of hurting. I don't know if I can go through this again. He moved closer, gently placing his hand over hers. Then don't. Let me be here now. Let me stay. I won't go anywhere again. Not unless you send me away. She finally looked into his eyes. There was pain, yes, but also love. Deep, old, and still burning. She could see it, feel it. And for the first time in 6 years, she allowed herself to hope that maybe, just maybe, they could still have something. Amy leaned her head on his shoulder. Ty wrapped his arm around her, holding her close like he used to on long, quiet nights. No more hiding. No more pretending. And in that moment, wrapped in silence and stars, the heart of Heartland slowly began to heal. The sun rose slowly over the Heartland ranch, painting the sky in soft pinks and oranges. But the warmth of morning couldn't wash away the weight that now filled the house. Fleming-Borden was home, but the past wasn't done with him. And as the family gathered around the kitchen table, one truth hung above them all like smoke from a fire. Nothing would be simple ever again. Lou sat with her arms crossed, eyes sharp. So what now, Ty? Do we just tell the town you're back from the dead? That you've been hiding while we mourned you? Jack leaned on the counter, silent but watchful. His loyalty was strong, but even he needed answers. People saw your grave, son. This won't stay quiet for long. Tim paced back and forth, his boots thudding heavily across the wooden floor. If someone out there still wants you dead, then you've brought danger right to our doorstep, to Amy, to Lyndy. Ty didn't flinch. I know. I didn't come back without thinking about that. But I couldn't stay away anymore. I needed to see my family. Amy stood near the doorway, her face pale. He's not the one who brought the danger. He's the one who lived with it all these years. Alone, hiding, watching us from the shadows. Jack nodded slowly. Still, we have to think about what happens next. Ty pulled out a folder from his coat pocket and laid it on the table. Inside were letters, documents, and a sealed envelope marked with a government insignia. This, he said, tapping the envelope, is proof of everything. Witness protection, court statements, the people I helped bring down. They're either in prison or dead. But one man escaped, and he swore revenge. Lou opened the folder, eyes scanning the pages. Her face turned cold. You were supposed to testify again this year. Ty nodded. I refused. I told them I wouldn't hide anymore. I wanted my life back. Amy looked at him, fear creeping back into her voice. Does that mean he might come here? I don't know, Ty said honestly. But if he does, I'll be ready. Tim slammed his hand on the table. That's not good enough. You think we'll just wait around and hope he doesn't find us? Jack finally stepped in. His voice was low, firm. No one's sending Ty away again. If trouble comes, we'll face it like we always have. Together. The family fell into a heavy silence. Outside, Lyndy played in the yard, her laughter floating through the window. She didn't understand the danger. She only knew her daddy had come back, and in her world, that was all that mattered. Amy turned to Ty. I haven't even told her the truth yet. She still thinks you just went away for a while. Ty's eyes softened. Let me be the one to tell her. She deserves that much. Later that day, under the big tree near the corral, Ty sat on the grass beside Lyndy. She was brushing her toy pony, not looking at him directly. Daddy? She asked quietly. Yes? Are you staying this time? Ty took a deep breath. I am. But there's something I need to tell you. Something important. She looked up at him, curious and trusting. I didn't just go away because I wanted to. Some bad people were after me and I had to hide to keep you and Mommy safe. But I never stopped thinking about you, not for a second. Lyndy frowned. Did you miss me? Ty smiled softly. More than anything in the world. She nodded, then climbed into his lap. Then I forgive you. As he held her close, Ty felt something settle inside him, a piece of peace he hadn't known in years. But far in the woods beyond the edge of the ranch, a pair of eyes watched them through binoculars. A dark vehicle sat hidden behind trees. A voice whispered into a comm. The target has resurfaced. Begin phase 1. Back at the ranch, Amy walked toward Ty and Lyndy, smiling gently. She didn't see the danger approaching. Not yet. But it was coming, and Heartland was about to be tested like never before.